Hello everyone, lovely to have you with me. It's Carol here at Oak House Journals. Can't believe it's that time of the week again where I need to record another Margarete Miller assignment. The weeks just seem to be flying past at the moment, and this is assignment number 39, or the prompts in front of me here are for assignment number 39, which means that we're in the 39th week of 2024. Crazy, isn't it? Absolutely crazy. Anyway, as you can see, the sun is shining, so I hope that's not going to bother you too much. I've got my bits and bobs in front of me here, which I've chosen for my prompts, and I'm eager to get started today, champing at the bit. Okay, so the first prompt is something noisy. Well, if you watch my channel, you'll know that I have some very noisy bantams that roam around the garden all day. And if they know I'm in the craft room, they usually set up a squawking outside for me to go out, say hello, take them some grapes. If I ignore them, it gets louder. And on various occasions, they'll be tapping on the cat flap, trying to get my attention. So I really wanted to do something today with a chicken or a hen in it, but I just couldn't find the right image amongst my stash. And what I came up with as a plan B is this little image here. Now this is a beautiful little image of a girl crying, and I know it's a huge generalization because usually when people cry or children cry, they might not make a lot of noise, but sometimes they do. So I'm going with the fact that sometimes they do. I'm going to use this gorgeous little girl here who's crying, hiding her eyes as well, obviously very distraught. Well, it's either that or she's playing hide and seek, but again, I'm choosing to look on it that she's crying here. So that's my choice for the first prompt. The second prompt, oh, and I hate these, a written personal goal or ambition. Now, as I say, I hate it when Margarete Miller does something along these lines, because to me, personal goals or ambitions are private. They're not necessarily something I want to share or have emblazoned across one of my collages. I haven't actually written one out, and she doesn't say that it has to be handwritten. What I have decided to share as one of my personal goals is what I saw on this little label here. And it really does encapsulate what one of my personal goals is, which is to live my life with integrity, e.g., to always try and be open and honest and let my actions speak for who I am and what I believe in. And the second one is to live my life with sustainability, i.e. to live a lifestyle that attempts to reduce the use of the Earth's natural resources, to reduce my own ecological footprint on the world or on the Earth. And I'm sorry if those sound very grandiose and pretentious, but I do try, and I don't say by any means that I always succeed, but I do try to live with integrity and with sustainability. So I'm not writing my goal or ambitions out in full. I'm just going to use those two little words on this label. So pop that off to one side. The third prompt, and I'm feeling very embarrassed about having shared that, so please excuse me. The third prompt is a tree with leaves that are not green. So I've got very little here really to play with in the craft room at the moment because, as you know, we're all packed up ready to move. I have left out this children's book which I've been using over the last couple of weeks, and I was hoping that there would be an image in here that I could use, but actually I've used most of the images of trees that have non-green leaves, except for on the cover here. So I was thinking I could maybe fussy cut these and use them to sort of edge my page, but the cover is almost like a waxed finished, and it's cardboard, so it's pretty thick. So I'm not going to use that, as much as I would love to utilize these delicate little images round the outside. So sadly I've got to put that on one side, and what I've chosen instead is something that just happened to be lying inside that front cover of the book, because when I do some fussy cutting, then I usually pop them inside the front cover of a sort of similarly themed book. And as you can see, this is part of an old book, and I've already used a portion of it, but luckily I have this tree here with some sort of goldeny coloured apples and leaves on it. Most of the leaves are greenish, so I'm hoping that's not too much of a liberty. So this is what I'm choosing for that third prompt. Fourth prompt, a text in foreign language. I've got a piece of an old book page here, vintage book, and it's French. Wasn't sure at first, but yes, it's definitely French, so I'm going to be using that to hit my text in a foreign language. Something you're thankful for. Well, I'm always thankful for nature, but I'm always resorting to that for this sort of prompt. So I dug deep and tried to think of things that other things that I am thankful for, and there's a whole myriad of those in my life. But one thing that gives me pleasure is beautiful penmanship, calligraphy. I collect fountain pens. I think I've shared that before now, and obviously I have some lovely inks that I put in my fountain pens. So I'm very thankful to be able to have some fountain pens and to be able to use them. And I have this, which is a business card for a ink swatch. As you can see, it is card, but it's not too thick, so I think that'll be fine. Finally, the bonus, a colour that you don't use often. Well, I picked up these recently, or I pulled them out recently. These were pages from a sofa magazine that came through the post, and I just love the backgrounds on these, and I thought that maybe I could make use of one of these. Now this one, as you can see, is grey. Well, I use grey quite a lot. This one possibly I could use, but it's not one colour, so that's why I've put it to one side. Terracotta is another colour that I would quite happily play with. This one perhaps not so much, hit the hay as they're saying, but not sure about that one, whether I can make it work on my piece. It might tie in well. In fact, it will tie in very well with my little girl's dress there. But the one I wouldn't play with very much at all is this colour, which is more of a mustardy colour. Sorry, I've got a bit of fluff on there. It's more of a mustardy colour, and this was from the cover of the magazine, which was, as you can see, was called Loaf. So I'm going to make use of this piece, and it will still work with my little girl. And I've also got these scraps here. Now these were the front inside fly sheets and first page of a book. Not sure which one it came from, so I've only got these two scraps, so I might make use of these as well as a bit of extra. I think they will go nicely with this, and they will also pick out the colour tones in her hair as well, so they may well come into play, so look out for those. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is to trim this so that it's inside my working border. Obviously trim off this edge piece here. As always, I may well trim this down smaller in due course, don't know at the moment. And I'm going to fussy cut my little girl, so I'm going to go away, get that done, and I'll be back in just 1 second. This piece is trimmed now. It's about 1 millimetre inside my working margins on the left and right, and probably about 3 millimetres top and bottom. And I fussy cut this little one. This, I've made sure that I've trimmed the edges at the top and the sides and across the bottom. Not so bothered about this piece because I'm hoping I can cover that up. I'd like to just try and frame this. I'm going to put a paper clip on this to hold it in place. So there's my first one. Let's find another one. My little girl, I'm hoping I can have sat on there. I'm going to pull her in a little bit more. This is my foreign text, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to rip a portion of this, try and cover up those two girls up there, and have a piece coming down here for my little girl to sit on. I like my little girl down here, but I think I need her higher. I tore away a portion of this French book text up here and I've ripped away too much, so I've got a bit of the branch peeping through there. So I need to lift my little girl up higher. Let's see if I can bring this in. I do need her lower down if I want to have her on here. Maybe I could do that. Pull this down. Leaves me with quite a space there, unless I put the book text over the top, so that's an option. Let's have a look at that. Yes, that works. And I could almost have her little shoes resting on this writing here, so that it almost acts to ground her. I can rip this away some more, actually. Cover that up there. I'm not liking that I've got just half a line of text down there, so I will level that off in a moment. Now, having it that low means that that branch is showing. I'm liking how this card is positioned behind my little girl's feet. Put a paper clip behind her to hold her in place. So I'm going to do the same with this card. I will trim down this background piece in a moment or two, but for now I just want to anchor this card where I want it to be. Now this piece still isn't looking right to me, and I'm wondering about ripping a piece so that it more or less comes down to a point. Yeah, I'm liking that better. I like this shorter edge here. Does look a little bit rough there, but I'm thinking that's going to be okay. Could always give it a quick snip with my scissors just to even it up a little bit, like that. Yeah, so I'm going to put a dab of glue under here. I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to fit that in behind her head, and yes I can. So I'm going to put a bit of glue on this, slide that in behind her head. Just left myself with the tiniest of slithers of the background paper behind. A little bit of glue behind my girl. I'm hoping this is all going to be straight and level, because when I had a look at the assignment I did last week when I finished and I was popping it away in my journal, I was looking at it thinking, oh, nothing was straight at all. I really am useless. Put some glue behind on here. Touch that down there like that. Some under here, a bit like that. Now this background piece here is just paper clipped in place, so I need to lift these off and get some glue behind. I'm just going to trim it across the bottom that distance. So I'm just going to eyeball this. And there we go. Now I was thinking about making use of these pieces behind to act as a bit more of interest, like that. Maybe a little bit down in this corner as well. I am very tempted, I have to say. Do I do it or not? Yeah, I think I will. I think I will. Let me trim off this top corner and get it straight. I'm not going to be bothered about these pieces here because they're not going to be showing. I need to do that one that way. And this one as well. So let's see what these look like now that they're trimmed. I would only have a tiny portion showing because it does take me quite a bit outside my working area. I like it how this piece is just hitting the tip of her dress. Let's pop this piece in here like that. So it would be something like that. Okay, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to glue these two pieces. So I'll be back when that's done. These two little pieces are glued onto the back now, and as you can see I've only got about 5mm showing on either side. So I'm going to glue this onto my background. First I'm going to rub away my pencil guidelines. These two pieces, bottom here and top there, are just outside my working area, not too much, so I can get away with that. So I'm just going to bring in my glue book and my Pritt stick, put some glue on the back and glue it down, and then very quickly we'll go through the prompts together. And there we go, everybody. Really pleased with this one. Love the colours. So quickly, something noisy. Well, I did a huge generalisation. I went with a crying child. A written personal goal or ambition. Well, to live with integrity and sustainability. And looking at that, that's not straight either. Oh gosh, I'm useless. A tree with leaves that are not green. So I've gone with these. They are greeny gold. But not too bad. Predominantly there's fruit on there, so I'm having to go with that due to the limitations of what I've got in my craft room at the moment. Text in a foreign language, well, I went with this vintage book page, French book page in the background here. Something you're thankful for, well, the pens that I have, my fountain pens, they're such a delight to play with. Sorry, I've got bits all over my desk here. My fountain pens, they're such a delight to play with, and I love the colours of the inks that I have as well. So I'm very thankful that I'm able to have those and to practice my handwriting and calligraphy with my fountain pens. And finally, bonus, a colour you don't use often. Well, this mustardy colour, very rarely use that, but I have to say, I love it. I really do. I love it against the sort of creamy background that I've got going on here. Tones work well with the yellow in her dress, and these little flowers down here go well with that. The gold definitely does. It gives it a little lift because otherwise it could be pretty flat. I like how it works with this little bit of book page that I put in the background as an edging. So yeah, I'm pleased with this. I've got my hint of green here, which picks up the greeny grass and tones down here. So yeah, I have to say I really like this one, and I'm pleased how quickly she came together. Maybe in hindsight the book text would have been better coming down there. That might have sat a little bit better and distracted the eye away from all that space going on there. But sometimes I just don't spot these things until I've finished doing my collages. I certainly don't spot that they're not straight sometimes, so I'll have to own up to that one. Anyway, everybody, thank you for spending a little bit of your day with me and for watching the video. I really do appreciate it. I know I always say that, but I really do mean it. Have a great week, and I'll see you hopefully next week for assignment number 40. Until then, take care, and as always, a few photos at the end for you. Bye bye now.